Yeah, man.
Wagwan youth.
Lord of mercy.
What's up?
What shall I say? Sac passé.
You know what I'm saying?
Sac
La
passé.
boule.
La boule.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know some more stuff. If we gonna get into it later.
Okay, shoot.
Listen,
Come on.
All right,
they call me the
waiting for
Big Zo.
The Big Zo.
Because it's DJ Anzo.
The big Zo. I see what you did there.
Think about it.
Anzo,
Think about it.
I see what you did there.
Come on now.
Yes, clever,
Wagwan,
clever,
people.
clever.
Episode 4.
Yes.
Boys are
Quatros.
back.
Quatros.
How you say four in Creole?
Cat.
Cat.
Come on, it's French, my
Because man
guy.
speaks the Francais. You know what I'm saying? But shit, now, welcome back, y'all. It's episode
sir.
4. Co-host DJ Anzo over here.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ivan.
Yes.
With himself. The world-renowned.
Young money budget.
Young money. Millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Come on, guys. Stop this.
What's up, man?
Man, we out here, fam. Boys got
We got a guest.
come
We
on.
got a guest.
Come on.
Not just any guest, though.
Shoot,
It's the
man.
guest.
This is the man, the myth, the legend.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
CP
Man
himself.
like CP himself.
Let's welcome Christian
Yes, sir.
Pierre.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
You know? Welcome to the show.
For,
And Anzo,
for those who don't know,
we have to do the drill.
yeah,
Oh, the introductions.
you know the intro.
You
who
know the
are.
standard drill?
Yeah,
You
standard
know.
intro. All right, yeah. So first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show.
course,
you know,
of course.
I'm a big fan. Been listening from day one.
He has been.
Thanks.
So yeah, my name is Christian Pierre. Born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So man's is from the Caribbean, from the islands,
From the islands.
as we like to call it. You know, man's grew up surrounded by water. So yeah, born and raised there. Moved to Florida in high school. Went to college in Daytona with Ibrahima. And yeah, now man's lives in Seattle.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
boys.
This is my brother right here, y'all.
Yes, sir.
And Chris, what do you what do you say, and how do you say in Creole? Welcome. Is this like how do you say?
Yeah, you can say bienvenue, which is French.
Bienvenue.
There's no real like Creole word to say welcome, so you just say bienvenue.
Bienvenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, bienvenue, mon ami. You know what I'm saying?
Oui.
Nah, bro, but welcome to the pod, man.
Yes.
We got a lot to talk about today, but in case you didn't know, it's around, or in case you didn't figure, it's around the brotherhood, around
Yes.
the islands,
Yes.
and the motherland,
Yes.
Caribbeans and Africans.
Yeah,
Now, I'll say first, the islands have had such a profound effect on the continent.
big time.
When you come to East Africa, everyone's bumping reggae dancehall,
Yeah.
Zouk, you know
Come
what I'm
on,
saying?
fam.
Soca.
Bashment.
Yeah.
It's bashment, all
Bashment.
that, bro. It's
Yeah.
the islands have had such a profound effect on our continent,
On our culture.
Yeah.
the whole entire culture.
The whole culture.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for giving us Kalonji.
Yeah,
Come on. You
But
know,
it's crazy, bro.
it is
Like,
crazy. Yeah. You said the same thing for us. Man, for me growing up, Gambia, it was all island music. No one was really listening to Afro beats like that back then growing up, until like 08, 09.
Yeah.
Until Do Me.
I say,
until
like-
Do Me, by P Square. But besides that, still though, all over. Prevalent. I remember uncles all over the place. It's just bumping Caribbean music. So profound. People there speak patois and they've never been to
They never stepped a foot.
They swear they're Rasta man, fam.
What's his name? Stone Boy. I don't know if he had been to Jamaica or somewhere before, but this guy speaks fluent patois, and I was like, "What's going on, big man?"
You never know, fam. But yeah.
Nah, but Chris, that's about Haiti. Like, what's Haiti like?
Yeah. We want to know more about Haiti, basically.
All right. So more about Haiti. Haiti, I think we're a proud people, man. I think our culture is really unique. In fact, that we're like a French-speaking country.
Yeah.
And like a lot of Caribbean countries are like more English-speaking. We're pretty unique. We're proud people. I know we've suffered a lot. We've long suffered. But it's great now, beautiful beaches, lots of great, nice spots to see. You see a lot of stuff in the news, like always, and pictures, but it's not always great. But I think, it's really nice out there.
Now, Haiti was also the first freed
First free black
Yes.
nation.
black nation, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the first thing I always knew about Haiti.
Yes, sir. Yes,
was
sir.
in our history books, right? The
Yep.
the revolution they had,
Mhm.
and being the first, in the 18th century,
1804.
1804.
January
My
1st,
goodness,
1804.
You know?
They beat the French. They said,
Yep.
"Come here."
1804.
Yep, first successful slave revolution too. So that's a big source of pride for us. To be
So
honest.
what happened there?
What happened there? So pretty much, slaves wanted to be independent. At the time, we were the most profitable colony for France, and the French Revolution was actually happening at the same time. It's actually a very complicated, complex history that I learned a long time ago. But yeah, pretty much slaves got up and revolted, wanted to be independent. There were French colonizers in the island who also wanted to separate from France, because they weren't being treated the same way as French citizens were. So yeah, so it ended up being a successful slave revolution because the French Revolution was going on at the same time. So that was a big help for us.
Yeah, so they didn't have enough manpower there.
Yeah, not really.
Not to take away from our Haitian brothers,
Right, no, of course.
because they were gonna do the thing
Come on,
regardless.
fam. Come on, fam.
But that did play a part, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a quick question for y'all though.
Oh,
I
boy.
asked Ed this the other day, but I've actually heard a lot of arguments that being the first successful slave, the first independent nation, hurt us in the long run because of where we are now in terms of progress and the progress we've made. I mean, what do you guys think of that opinion that I've seen people throw out there? That if we had stayed colonized a little bit longer, we'd be further ahead today.
What does that even mean?
Well, no, I understand what he's saying. Is because, let's say in Africa, right? Let's take the Africa case. Most African nations gained independence in the 1960s, right?
Yeah.
And so probably for the better part of since when Haiti, Africans were under colony rule, and they set up those frameworks, institutions, government, and all of those structures, which when they left, Africans never had a chance to actually now run those countries independently. And it lead to a succession of political instability, basically. So if Chris is asking us that, imagine that happened for Africans in the 1950s and 60s. Imagine that for them it was 1801. Because there's always a downside to it, right? I'm sure, there are some old heads or even people from our parents' generation who swear that colonialism was good for us because there was structure, or, there's some people who think like that.
Yeah.
That, in some sense there was more structure, and which I still think it should never be an option. But
me
but
too.
still though, there's a other side of the story to it. So he's asking us that, do we think that?
I think that I don't think so. So
Yeah, I
number
don't think
one
so too.
is because you compare something like Zimbabwe, where they were left all the structures, right?
Till 1980 something, that's when
Right.
they gained independence, right?
But today, there was a time where the inflation was so bad you were buying a loaf of bread for like 1 million Zimbabwean dollars.
Yeah.
So if we're talking like to scale for economy, I don't think I agree with that. I think it was just unfortunate that not enough Black nations had that independence at the time,
Yeah.
That's a good
because it made it hard for like Haiti to be self-sustainable. That's like the educated guess I can make on it. Because if you can't have like a fair trade system, with other nations,
Yeah.
and then you're kind of left with like a structure you're not familiar with and like supposed to keep up with the rest of the world, it becomes increasingly difficult.
It's actually, almost a bad cliche, like they were left on an island,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But also to what Chris is saying though, what African country, post-colonialism, maybe I can thrived or was able to go to a period of prosperity, economic prosperity, for their people.
You mean like immediately?
No, I'm
post,
saying
or
let's
even
look
now?
at it. Let's look at just in Africa when the colonialists left and gave powers to the nationalists, right? Let's just look at the following 30 years. What African country can we pinpoint and say, yes, they actually thrived, or there was prosperity and not political instability,
You see,
civil war, coup d'etats.
I think because of even the way the nations were left, it didn't allow for that. So
There's none that I can think of top of my head.
Well, you can make the argument for besides the genocide, Rwanda, right?
Rwanda?
Yeah, because you go there today, it's
Okay.
top notch.
Yeah, okay.
South Africa, but then again, it's
that one. It's the South Africa case, Ivan,
Yeah.
right? Chris is saying the South Africa thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much is it that they were under apartheid and under the rule of
okay.
the Dutch, and now they're one of the we could say they're the most economically powerful country in Africa. You could say that, or Nigeria.
Powerful, I'd say probably Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay, but let's just say South Africa's up there
Mm-hmm.
in terms of development as a country as a whole.
But you see, we're also trying to measure the growth of these countries, which are so young. They're not even 100 years old.
No, I'm not
against others that
that's
are
true.
hundreds of years old.
That's
you know?
true, but
So,
it's just what I'm just trying to understand if to what Chris's question is, and now I'm just using South Africa as a case study here, is that they were one of the much later countries in Africa to finally have the actual people who the natives or people who are actually from that country to rule the country, right?
Mhm.
And we see South Africa is far developed than most other African countries.
Mhm.
So to Chris's question, is that because they were under European rule more or less for so long?
Man,
that's a tough question for me
it
to
is-
answer.
it
I feel
is-
like there's not a yes or no to that one.
yeah, it is, but my pride won't let me say anything else than it wasn't our idea of development to begin with, right? So the standard in which even development is measured today is a westernized idea. So it's like, oh, do you guys have good social services? Oh, do you guys have like equal or free whatever standard of education or whatever standard of infrastructure, which it skews to the West, where you see a lot of like the Nordic countries being the ones who are considered the happiest or the most developed. So it's a heavy-ended question. We cannot dissect this one today.
Yeah,
I'm
guys,
sorry.
that's a question that we do not. We ain't got the answers to it.
I'm sorry. Because so Haitians, Caribbeans, I don't know how to phrase it, but do you think there's any divide between Haitians and Africans?
Within the Haitian Caribbean people and African people, divide?
Divides?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean by divide?
So like maybe it's from like a historical context. So when you identify as Haitian, right?
Yeah.
Is that like your endpoint, or do you also like to think, well, really I'm African?
Well, I personally think really I'm African, but I can't say that's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody from the Caribbean. Different people are gonna have different perspectives, different opinions, and I think the Western culture. We're we have a very heavy Western influence, not just in Haiti, but throughout the entire Caribbean. So I don't think everybody would have that same answer, to be honest.
Okay.
Well, and I just wanted to also know to that is because you Caribbean people, they look just like us.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
because they're African.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to know in Haiti, and I don't know, I know you can't speak for the whole of Caribbean, but let's just say in Haiti, how prevalent was education on African history, on what Africa was like before colonial, so pre-colonial Africa, the countries, the tribes, how much history did you guys get growing up in the educational system, at least?
As far as African, so just for me personally, I went to a Haitian school for primary school. So everything was taught in French. I think they really heavily influenced Haitian history.
Haitian history, so not African history.
So not African histories, but we learned a lot about, some of the Haitian heroes growing up, people like Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, people like that, and how the slave revolution, but not really in general African history, if that makes sense.
So were there Africans? Of course, I'm sure there were Nigerians found their way to Haiti. I was gonna ask. So, what was your encounter with Africans? Is this just you saw them on TV, or there were a good number of Africans in Haiti?
There's not that many. I think. I think the bad thing is that a lot of Haitians also get the same Western view of Africa.
So the stereotypes.
Yeah, the stereotypes, and sometimes it's just not their fault. I feel like it's what people see. But yeah, not that many. I feel like it's really when I moved to the US that I really
That you
got that
start-
interaction that first.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, would you say it's probably in general in the Caribbean that, besides, let's say, if you're there for diplomatic reasons, you work for, you're there working for the government, African government, like what would Africans go do in the
Be
Caribbean?
doing there,
Yeah.
unless you're like Rastafari.
Unless you're on some expedition to be a Rasta,
Or on vacation or something.
or on vacation.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
A lot of Africans do go to the Caribbean though for vacation.
Yeah.
But that's different because vacation, Chris growing up in Haiti, he's not meeting the African there on vacation.
Yeah.
For
that's
sure.
true.
For sure.
That's true.
Chris, what's your favorite type of Caribbean music?
My favorite type of Caribbean music? Caribbean music specifically, I like Haitian music, man.
Yeah. Tell us Haitian music.
So like
Chris has.
Zouk, compa, like,
Come on,
what are we
fam.
talking about?
So yeah,
What's the lady's name? That lady's name.
Niska.
Niska, man. That's the one, fam. Niska, she's nice.
So we have compa, that's our traditional music. To be honest, growing up, I didn't like it much, but as I got older, I started to appreciate my culture a little bit more, and now I just love it. I listen to it all the time. But yeah, we have compa, we have zouk, we have this thing called tubadu, and then more recently, which is more like millennial music, we have this thing called rabodai. It's like
called, what's it called?
rabodai, yeah.
Rabodai.
It's basically party music.
Oh, shoot.
It's basically party
Bumper
music.
to bumper.
Yeah.
What's
It's what the millennials listen to nowadays.
what's the tone of the music? What's it like?
Man, it's kind of trending more towards like, so I think a lot of people when they think of Caribbean music, dancehall and soca and reggae are usually the most popular. That's what comes to people's mind, and it's trending more towards that, to be honest. Like the dancehall type.
But they're singing in Creole, right?
Yeah, they're singing Creole. It's basically like, it's just party music. It's what they play at all the parties nowadays. So
Okay, so would you think that there's a generalization of, let's say, Jamaican music and culture, and they just think, do you get that when you tell people are from Haiti, they're gonna say a fact about Jamaica, or
So-
how do you feel?
funny thing, right before I came today, I called up two of my guys, and one's from Bahamas and one's from Trini.
Yeah.
And when I asked them that question, both of them gave me the same answer. They all think we're Jamaican.
That's funny.
And they all think that we
Yeah.
listen to dance hall. And I think that's, even for me, that's a generalization that like when people think of Caribbean, like that dance hall, that reggae, that's the first thing that comes to their mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that for sure happens a lot.
Yeah, no, I think because we have our own stereotypes. So for me, like I said, Haiti, two things I knew of Haiti only growing up. Before I met actual Haitians, was, of course, the first Black nation, the revolution. And big thing, the second one is Haitian voodoo.
Ooh, okay.
That's one thing
I'm
I
glad you
always
brought
used to
that
hear,
up.
you know? Haitian voodoo, the dead people rise from graves.
Yeah.
And so I used to hear that. I'm like, these guys are exaggerating. But yeah, that was one of the big things
I'm glad you brought that up because we recently watched a documentary on Haitian voodoo and how it started.
Yeah.
Now, this is the source I heard it from, right? It was started as a what's the word? It basically while the French were going out, the Haitians took like Catholicism and then like made not a mockery of it, but like they put their own like culture and modified like the Catholic like representations of whatever that saint is, right?
Yeah.
And made it into like what they call voodoo now. But it's not like bad.
Let's
or
ask a
bad.
Haitian here. Chris,
You're
do
right,
you
you're right.
believe in Haitian voodoo? Is it true? Are the stories we hear, are they true?
Voodoo it's a real thing. I think that it's part of, a lot of people will tell you that's part of Haitian culture.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, there's so many myths and I think things that are just not true.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That just surround the whole voodoo experience. And I think, so actually Joey Badass, he actually came out with a couple songs with some songs days ago when he was telling you that, like we're scared of this, but we really shouldn't be scared because in a way it's part of our culture and like who we are. And it's like, so I think
magic.
that it's really part of our culture. So I think that yes, it's there, but I think there's a lot of things out there that are just myths. and
Yeah,
not
I'm
true.
sure.
Like misconceptions around it.
Misconceptions, yeah.
You know what thing I always used to say though back in Africa? You can't pay me no money to spend the night at a graveyard in Africa, fam.
Yeah, me too.
So
But why is that? Like,
what?
why?
Would you spend a night at a graveyard back home in Uganda, Evan?
I wouldn't.
For how much? What's your price?
No, I would not do it. but like, I don't know. Like, this is what I started to think. Right? Is why are like traditional religions and beliefs looked at as
Yeah, I mean, it's instead of like your point is, and we'll like Chris, you can let us know here because I want to hear about, of course, like most countries, and Haiti has been to a lot of hardships. But can I hear more about the music, the food, the culture?
Yeah.
I wish I heard those parts versus, yes, it's the first independent black music, but, there's a lot of voodoo there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
So
what you're saying.
how do we educate ourselves more? And what's your take on that again?
As far as educating yourself more, just taking the initiative.
Yeah.
Meeting the people, going out there, like myself, whenever I want to learn more about any kind of African country, I go and speak to someone who's actually from that country. I want to go to the motherland and visit. I think you just got to do the same thing. You got to take the initiative, go visit, meet people from there, have these conversations. That's really the best way to learn, in my opinion.
Facts. Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite thing about Haiti?
My favorite thing about Haiti, oh man, the food, the people, just the culture in general. There's just something about every time I go back. I'm sure you guys get that feeling. There's just a feeling about being in your motherland. Somewhere where you feel like you really belong. So yeah, I'd say for sure the food and the culture. Those are two of my favorite things.
And all right, so this kind of like one of the first things he learned about Haiti. One of the first things I learned about Haiti was the Zoes, right?
The Zoes.
So, you know what I'm saying? They my buddy's like, yeah, I'm Zoe this. So, I was like, ooh, what is a Zoe? Like, what is a Zoe?
So okay, so there's a lot of Haitians in South Florida. A lot of
Jacksonville,
Haitians.
right? A lot in Jacksonville.
Miami,
all over Florida,
Yeah.
but especially in South Florida.
South Florida.
Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
That's their capital. Don't they have
Yeah.
little Haiti there?
Yeah, we have little Haiti
Yeah, yeah.
there. Lots of Haitians. So the Zoe thing really started with a song this guy made. I forgot his name. I'm a Zoe. You guys have heard that song, right?
I think so.
I forgot his name. But yeah, that's how the whole Zoe thing started. But it really wasn't popping off. You guys know what made it pop off?
What?
Kodak Black.
Kodak. Come on, fam.
Once Kodak
That's
became
true, though. I never heard
popular,
of it
all of a
because of
sudden
Kodak.
it
Yo,
was
shout out to
cool
Kodak,
to be.
man.
Yeah, shout out to Kodak. Because once he became popular, all of a sudden it was cool to be Haitian.
Yeah. He did.
Really?
Yeah.
Think of it, Ivan. To be honest, man, when Kodak came up, I'm like, sure,
Well, I think like maybe on the national scale it became cool, but I had heard of Zoes before Kodak.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't, to be honest. Kodak is my
But
introduction.
to be honest, I know people who before Kodak started blowing up, they would never admit that they're Haitian. But as soon as Kodak is on the scene, they have like a Haitian cousin, a Haitian uncle. Oh my gosh, I'm Haitian. Like that's how it was. So all of a sudden it became like a cool thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Haitians are heavy in just all facets of life because you
And
got
culture.
a lot
Their
of
culture
athletes.
is
Oh yeah.
a lot of
the
musicians,
athletes.
a lot of politicians. Well, like historical politicians. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
And what are some like prominent Haitians that we know of today that you're like, God, dope, he's my Zoe.
Prominent Haitians you guys know of today. Well, one of the first things that comes up off the top of my head, she's half Haitian, but Naomi Osaka, half Haitian,
Best
half Japanese.
ladies, best women tennis player in the world right now.
She's killing it right now.
Facts.
She's doing great. Who else? Lugans Dortz.
Oh, you gonna claim Lou Dort? Come on, fam. You gotta say Jason Pierre Paul.
Yeah,
fam, my guy.
JPP, Pierre Garçon.
Pierre Garçon.
Pierre
There's a
Garçon.
lot of
NFL
names
players,
that
fam.
come up. Yeah.
Oh boy,
What's the name for Seahawks?
Jason Derulo, actually.
Jason Derulo,
Jason
you know that guy.
Derulo.
Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef, come on, Chris.
Old head.
Man say Luja and Dort.
Hey, we like Dort now. Anytime.
It's
But
a
yeah.
lot.
Wyclef really
Yeah,
put
Wyclef.
Haiti on the
Yeah,
map.
Wyclef really put us on
He
the
really
map.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyclef Jean. That's big guy.
Yes, sir.
And he performed at the World Cup that one year. With
Yeah,
Shakira,
was
I
it the
remember.
2010 World Cup, right?
2010.
Man,
And he had the
best
Haitian
World Cup.
flag. Yeah.
Best World Cup.
Ever.
That one
Best
was
World
great.
Cup for us.
Without
For-
debate.
Yeah. Huh?
Without debate.
Without
That's
debate,
the
yeah.
best one.
If only one penalty went in.
No, let's not get into it.
Scars.
That's a
Let me
whole
not-
other
Let me
argument.
not bring back bad memories.
Yeah.
Ghana, I should stop.
Yeah, let's just not talk about it.
But what? So, all right, now you grew up in Florida, met Africans, all sorts of, what like similarities and like parallels did you bridge between like Africans and like Caribbeans in general?
Oh man, so many similarities. I mean, listening to you guys' season 1 and 2, I mean, I just felt like I could relate to everything you guys were saying. And that's why I love the podcast so much. I think the similarities are all there. The parents,
Of course.
doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Come on, standards.
Period, nothing better.
Yeah.
The food, a lot of similarities in food, the culture, the music. Man, Afro beats are actually really, really popular in Haiti right now too.
Yeah.
But I think just the music in general. I remember when I was a kid, Magic System was really popular.
Oh,
in Haiti.
come on.
Super, super popular. And the food is great. I mean, I love me some Fela Kuti.
Come on, fam.
Standards. So I feel like the similarities are really all there. There's differences, of course, because we have so much Western influence, I feel like, and there's a mix of so many different cultures. But man, the similarities are all there for sure.
I've got a few Haitians in my life, I feel like.
Look, personally, from knowing Chris, it felt like Chris could have grown up in Gambia. Fam. all I'm saying, fam. That's one thing I resonated with so much is to be honest, it felt like upbringing wise, values, culture. To me, it seems the same. Me and him, we relate so much, and this is from when I even met him in college, and even so for meeting other Caribbean people from Caribbean, it's just with African, there's an easy connection that we have. So I do say there are a lot of similarities we have.
One of the Haitians that I follow right now that kills me is Jessie Wu.
Oh yeah, Jessie Wu. She's a joke.
Everything she like when she does her Haitian accent, and she's talking about like just being Haitian or something around like your parents or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, bruv, this is like exactly what like a Ugandan woman would say, just differently.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Shout out to her, man. She's hilarious. I like her a lot. What about some differences?
Oh man, some differences between. I guess, are we speaking Haitians in general or just Caribbean?
We can whichever.
You can speak for whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay. Some differences. I guess one thing that really, I remember one time I went to an Ethiopian restaurant and then I made a lot of Ethiopian friends. And I remember that was the first time I ever we sat down and we all ordered our food and there was one big plate that came on the table.
In Jeddah?
Yeah, it was in Jeddah. Yeah. And I remember telling like, yo, where's my plate? And they're like, no. So I think that's one of the differences. That was the first time I was like really introduced to that. But I thought like it was really cool. It was like it was like so communal, It felt like you were really building a bond with the people you're eating with. So taking it at other level. What else? I think that the way you guys have tribes. We don't have any tribes.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
It's like once you're Haitian, you're Haitian.
Yeah, you're Haitian. There's no tribes. I mean, you might come from a different part of the country, but you're still Haitian.
You're just Haitian.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the biggest things I can think of.
So there's no like discrimination in that sense.
Well,
are they some sort of like caste system?
Yeah.
Or?
I think colorism is a big problem anywhere, really, not just in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's just a problem anywhere. So I think if there's gonna be that kind of thing, it's definitely colorism for sure a little bit. Like
do Haitians because I know in Jamaica bleaching is a whole like industry. Do Haitians like do that a lot? Or
I don't think so. No, we don't. There's not really. No, not really. No.
Yeah. How about like the relationship between the DR and Haiti? What's that like?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's technically one island, right?
Yeah. Man, I hear like mixed reports on that. There are some years where it's really bad. You hear a lot of Haitians like suffering over there, and like they're facing discrimination, and it's just not a great relationship at all. But then sometimes you hear good things. So I don't know. It fluctuates. I'd say. between, you know, I think that sometimes when we get a lot of Haitians going over to the DR, you know, Dominicans are sometimes not happy that, you know, that's happening and trying to take their jobs. So it's really the same thing as like, you know, like, oh, Mexicans coming into the US. I think it's kind of like a similar kind of thing. But yeah.
That's like the sentiment around it.
Yeah, kind of the sentiment.
Yeah. What are you saying, Uncle E?
No, I you know, it's good to hear because that's something that I wasn't aware of or we don't think of a lot of times. It's, you know, relationships too in the Caribbean is the same thing with, you know, in Africa, how neighboring countries are always in dispute or always having issues. You know, it's the same thing in the Caribbean as well between Haiti and for my Spanish. It's Spanish, right? That's what they speak in DR?
DR,
Yeah, Spanish.
Yeah. So,
because I think they just split the island in half, right?
Yeah.
It's like almost half.
Yeah, pretty much almost split in half, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. What are you saying? Before we kind of wrap up, where'd you get that shirt?
This one?
Plug your Taylor. Where'd you get it?
Oh, you gonna have to hit Big Bro up. It's you know, he hooked me up with this one. But look at Chris though, man.
I
Chris
was gonna get to that. I was gonna get to that.
Come
bro.
on, fam. Don't
see
put
the
me.
drip?
Point at Chris. Come on,
Crazy?
fam. Man's he's ready for a trip to Banjul,
This
fam.
shirt, it must have cost about $2,000.
Easily, fam.
You know what I'm saying?
Easily, fam.
Clean.
I can't give away my sources, man.
Come on.
Oh, do you guys also have like traditional wear?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we do, but only for like the carnival and things like that. So
Okay,
yeah,
I see.
but not like, I don't think we really have that much everyday traditional wear.
There's a whole lot of like, you know, Haitians along the East Coast, and the carnivals, like, well, that's all Caribbeans really. But
Yeah.
I need to make it out there soon because these carnivals, the way they're looking.
Post-COVID, fam, you know, that's why you gotta take that vaccine.
Hey, I told you I'm getting the vaccine. Joe Budden told me to get the vaccine.
It's a must, fam.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. What we saying, Uncle E?
No, yeah, for sure. Like this was good to hear what Chris had to hear.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been telling him now it's time for him to go back to the motherland and finally experience that culture too as well.
For sure. I mean,
So
Chris is
he's
coming
ready.
with.
He's
coming
his
with.
first trip to Banjul, fam. Boys have been training him, fam.
Boys are ready.
Did you learn some Wolof yet?
Of course.
Shit.
Where did you learn? Let us know.
Come on, fam.
Come on now. Men knows how to say nakam.
Yaiba.
Cool.
Yai kula.
So I told you about my Uber driver in
The
DC.
Uber driver was Gambian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in DC and my Uber driver was from Gambia, and so you know, his license plate said Somita, right?
Somita.
Somita. So I was like, I see his name, it says Bakari. I was like, oh, he must be Gambian.
Bakari.
I
Yeah.
was like, must be Gambian or Senegalese.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, Bakari, where are you from? And he was like, oh, I'm from the Gambia. And I was like, God.
Oh, he said the Gambia.
We already there.
Yeah.
And then I said, what tribe are you? And he said, I'm Jola.
He was Jola.
He was Jola. And then from there, it was easy breezing. Now, you know
yeah.
what the first thing I said to him was?
What?
I said, Nagada. And then he said something back. I was like, "No, I'm not gonna hold you to it."
He's like, boy, I might be boy.
But it was dope, man. It was a dope.
That's
interaction.
awesome, man. I'm happy to say, well, yeah, it's great to hear because you say you don't meet us, although there are a lot of Gambians in that, DMV area, but yeah, we're very uncommon to most Africans.
Yeah.
And the world in general.
So he told me to tell you what's up, which I already did.
Okay, yeah.
Bakari
My fellow Jola, man.
So
yeah,
Chris, who's our pioneer of the day today?
Yeah, today we wanted to give Chris the honors of highlighting a pioneer for us. So who you got? Well, we kind of told him who we want him to feature, but yeah.
Today's pioneer day is Toussaint Louverture.
Toussaint
Louverture. How do I say it?
Louverture.
Louverture.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll exclude myself from that.
You know what I'm saying?
He was a big leader during the slave revolution. He was one of the major generals. Helped really bring the country together and organize us. And really, he was really instrumental in us basically becoming the first free black nation. So.
And
Nice.
what kind of leader was he?
He was one of the army generals.
Okay.
So he was army general.
Mm-hmm. And I read about him a little bit, and sad. Well, I don't want to call it a fun fact. Sad fact is, he got in the end captured by the French, and he got basically extradited. Well, I don't. What's the word for it again? When they
Extradited to France?
Yeah, when they tried to do Pablo. Yeah. He got extradited to France, and then he was at some Fort prison, and then that's where he passed away. So
did they say how or no?
They said he was sick, malnourished, all kinds of stuff. They basically didn't care about his.
Yeah.
But that just tells you the sacrifice that a lot of our ancestors took for freedom of their countries and their nation. So yeah, we wanted to just feature him. He's an unsung hero, and we need to educate ourselves more on those type of people as well.
Yeah. So shout out to Toussaint Louverture.
Exactly.
Toussaint Louis.
Toussaint Louverture.
Man like Toussaint.
I'll just say a shout out to General Toussaint.
I'm saying,
yeah.
Man speaks the Francais. You heard?
So you got that, man.
I'm about to learn Creole now. So all my Zoes. Nah, but hey.
Thank you, Chris, though, man. Thanks
Chris,
for making it,
for pulling up.
Oh, yeah, no.
On the boys. If you didn't see our new, what is this? Jaguar.
We want a Haitian name for the Jaguar.
Yeah,
Give us one, fam.
Can you bless him?
Yeah, bless him, fam.
We could call him Pierre.
Yeah, you heard?
Yo, Pierre, you want to come outside?
We got my man's Pierre.
Come on, fam.
Out here with CP.
Pierre Ep.4? Yes, sir.
CP4?
Yeah.
Is that where we're going?
Yeah, CP4.
Right, copy.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Chris, thank you
Thank you,
for
Chris.
joining
Thank
us.
you guys.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
If you still haven't liked, subscribe, share, comment, your father. No, I'm just playing. But